Hello and welcome back to another ICRIS training video. In this video, we'll be showing all subscribers how to update an existing resource. Please note that this video has been updated from the original version and some processes and features within ICRIS have changed. Also, this video is only for non-linear resources, so if you need to make an update to a canal, road, railroad, or anything of that nature, please refer to our video on updating linear resources. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to walk you through how to update existing resources with this test project I've created. For this example, there's going to be an affordable housing complex in Caldwell, Idaho in this block. As you can see, I've drawn my project area polygon for my area of potential effect. Now, we might have an undertaking that has visual or indirect effects. And for these projects, you can change the size of your buffer. And this buffer is going to be really important because whatever is selected by both the polygon that you draw and the buffer is going to be picked up as a resource within your APE. So we can see which ones are showing up near the project area, but let's look at a list. If we scroll down and go to Project Resources, we can choose Literature Review from the dropdown. Here you can see all of the resources that have been previously recorded. A resource update should occur if the resource has not been documented within the past 10 or more years, if it could be affected by the undertaking, or if it has never been updated in ICRIS. Usually, first versions will need to be updated. You can see that information on the resource record if we click up here. So it looks like Dave's hasn't been recorded in quite some time. 2004 is the date of last recordation, and that's well within our 10-year period. Okay, 72 pages of resources is a lot to sort through. Luckily, we have this brand new ICRIS feature where we can search for our resources that pop up within this table. And there we have Duke's Pawn Shop. Right there, we don't have to sort through anything anymore. So let's go back down and click Create New Version. We can skim through what's already been recorded. And it looks like we have a couple of legacy site forms in the project attachments. These are the old site forms that are attached to the record. So if it hasn't been recorded since we've updated to ICRIS, you'll find one of these PDFs. You can open these and read about what's already been recorded. ICRIS also keeps previous versions of the resource, and they can be found here at the tab in the bottom. There are usually 3 or 4 versions of a resource, but in this case there's only one, so we don't have much to poke around, but feel free to gather more information about the resource by reading through those previous versions. Now, in order to make changes, let's click on Edit. You'll have to fill any required fields out that have not already been included in the previous version of the resource. These fields that are denoted with a red-orange asterisk are required, as we know from our other videos in this series. So there's not a whole lot of information recorded here, but we do have a pretty okay description. You can add to these fields that have already been filled out by a previous surveyor, but what we're not going to do, repeat, not going to do, is delete all of the information from a previous recordation. These resource records are populated by people just like you doing hard work, so let's keep the information there unless it's incorrect. If this is the case, just summarize and clarify what has been miscalculated. For instance, you could say a previous recordation of this building incorrectly identified these features as Art Deco, but here's what we think, or here's what it is. Let's remember that we're working to improve the documentation for this resource. Built environment resources like this one are viewable by members of the public, and we want them to be able to have as much information as possible. You may also notice that there is a distinction between the description and history sections. Information that is historical, such as the building or site's connection with historic events, its ownership, and any other details that are not related to a physical description, should be placed in that section. This resource doesn't have much in the history section, so that's something you should really do more research about. Alright, so the resource tab is looking good. Let's go over to the property type tab and update that information. Let's make sure we're filling it out with all of the information that we have, even if the fields aren't required. If you have the information, we do ask that you just put it in the form so that we can do right by the resource. Once we're done updating the information, we'll go back to the resource tab and click on Mark Complete to see if there's anything that we're missing. Luckily, with this new IGRIS update, we can see exactly what we're missing here. In this case, it looks like the justification section and the photos are needed. So now for photos. We require only 2 photos for each recorded resource. Let's go ahead and upload them. And you'll notice that I am selecting more than one photo. With another new IGRIS update, we are able to finally upload multiple photos. So you can click as many photos as you need to and hit open, and here they go. We do ask that you add a description, information about the direction you are facing, and the year to all of the captions. Let's also look at the resource attachment section. Here you can add any attachment that would help our understanding of the resource. Examples might be newspaper or magazine articles, or even building plans. The cover letter should be submitted as a project attachment, and it should not go with the resource record. In fact, we really want to emphasize that no project details should go anywhere within the site recordation form. This is about the resource and not about the project. Also make sure to check the GIS. There are some resources like this little one over here that has clearly been put in the wrong place just with our data migration. So make sure you're fixing this GIS. In this case, for this resource, it looks fine and good to go. We'll complete that justification section. Let's go ahead and complete it out. Okay, now your new version of the resource should populate within the project. And now you know how to update an existing resource, and you've seen some of our new IGRIS features. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Bye!